by Magic Johnson. His book, 32 Ways to Be a Champion in Business. With Magic Johnson, we all know about his illustrious career and that fateful announcement that he made that kind of changed the sports world, changed a lot of different people's world when he announced that he had HIV. During this time of year, it's January, we're looking for new beginnings. One of the things that's very interesting about the Magic Johnson story is the fact that while he was playing basketball, unlike most basketball players or any other sports people, he was working on a transition out of sports, maybe years before he retired. One of the things that I really like about him is that he looked at his environment, unlike most NBA players, because we've heard those stories about NBA players, as soon as they're done with their illustrious career making $100 million, a couple of years later, they're broke. Unbelievable, but this happens all the time. It's a statistical fact. Magic Johnson, while he was playing ball, he would look at the different people that were on the floor. Like we've always seen, if we watch Jack Nicholson, notice was that there was business powerhouse type people on the floor. And so what he did, he would use the fact that these people wanted to see him and talk to him about business. He said, you know, I'm playing ball, I'm doing all of these things, but he came up to CEOs and major power players and said, you know, after I transition out of playing basketball, I like to know what it is that I should be doing. And there was two people who were very instrumental in getting him on the road to where he is now. Just to give you a little, with doing these parts that I do, what I'm going to try to do is always have 5 different points of why these books are interesting. First of all, I'm going to talk about the inspiration for purchasing the book. 2, thoughts and insights that were gained from reading the book. 3, why is this book practical, and how does it apply to us as a group of business owners and entrepreneurs. 4, one of the things that I think about with Sherry, she actually helps people with health and getting themselves where they need to be in as far as their nutrition. Well, when you do that, just like a health coach, as a business coach, people have problems and challenges. So one of the things that I like about books is, as opposed to looking at the whole world of business as a business owner and entrepreneur, sometimes people have specific needs. So they'll say, for instance, you know, I'm really having a problem with sales. That's one of the big things that I get from clients. I really don't like to sell. I don't like the word sell. There's books on how you can get yourself in a position where you think about sales differently. So that's something that I would prescribe for a client who would be interested in learning how to do sales. And also the 5th thing that we'll talk about with books on an ongoing basis is the author's thoughts. Why does he want you to buy his book? One of the things that was interesting about this particular book and why I got it is I try to be observant in the places that I like. I love Starbucks, okay? When I was living in Maryland, one day I was looking at the bulletin board in Starbucks and I noticed that it said Starbucks, Urban Opportunities, something, Magic Johnson. I was like, that's interesting. So basically it was saying that he owned that Starbucks. Now, one of the things that I knew, because I really love Starbucks, is that Starbucks wasn't really in the habit of franchising. They didn't need to do that. But Magic Johnson was able to, from talking to those people on the side court, learn the right words to say and the different things to do to present to Howard Schultz, who owned Starbucks. And then Howard Schultz said, you know, well, based upon all of these things that you've done, Magic, and your track record of success, what we'll do, as opposed to our old model of Starbucks, basically having a Starbucks in populated areas with business people or the suburbs, we will go ahead and put a Starbucks in urban areas. Magic Johnson, by actually doing something different and learning how to understand business as opposed to just being a ball player and dealing with that all his life, he actually ended up owning 105 Starbucks, which is incredible. One of the things that I think about, too, when I saw that, a lot of you guys know when we have our events, we always talk about Success Magazine. Well, this is the August 2010 issue of Success Magazine with Magic Johnson on it. And in there, he talks about different, tips of success. One of the things that really hit home for me is the fact that here's something he talks about. Ask for help. That's huge. A lot of times, especially as men, it's very hard for us to ask for help because we have pride. Women have pride too, but as a man, sometimes we feel like if we don't know all of the answers, then some people will say, well, you should know that. Something's wrong with you.
But one of the things... directions?
Huh?
You mean like getting directions?
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example, Joe. Yeah. And that's classic because, we'll be driving and your wife will say, well, dude, no, I got it. Perfect example. But by him humbling himself and saying, because a lot of people, when they make a lot of money, like at the time when he was actually talking to these different people to help him, he was making a lot of money. So some people, when they have a lot of money, they'll equate that to having great knowledge. Well, just because you have money doesn't necessarily mean that you know everything. So by him being humble, that was probably one of the main things that helped him to be able to transition. And then also, Magic Johnson talks about the fact that branding is more important than your business. Let's think about that for a minute. Branding is more important than your business. What does that mean? Well, if you say that I'll use myself for an example. I'm a business coach. I'm Randall Phillips. I'm a business coach. That's great. But when you say to a person, listen, I'm Randall Phillips. I work with Great Day Business Coaching. Immediately a person goes, and I've seen this a lot when I talk to people, they go, oh, Great Day, that's interesting. You need something where people can have a thing in their mind where they can think about what you do. So everything that we do is Earvin related to the Great Day team. One of those, I got that from actually a mentor of mine, Robert Kiyosaki. Everything that he talks about is Rich Dad. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, the Rich Dad Company. So that's one of the things that I really learned and appreciated, because even when Magic Johnson does interviews, that's the first thing that he says. A lot of people are doing it wrong, spending a lot of time talking about how awesome their business is, where what you need to do is brand that name. So all of his stuff is Magic Johnson Enterprises, because people know that, and that's something that we can take away. Another thing that was good that we talked about earlier is the fact that, he learned how to transition his basketball brand into a business brand. Now, what's the difference? Well, all of us know different players. Like, I'm from Chicago, so I like Jordan, the Jordan brand. But the thing that happened with him, he noticed that when he was, when he made that announcement and he had all of the different sponsors who were giving him money because he was the man, but then he said, I have HIV. He said all of those people left. Every last one of them. So if he focused his attention on having that NBA brand, he's done. So it was good that before that even happened, that he started transitioning into a business brand. That's something that we can do too. Because really, our brand is not so much about us making money, which we all need money to live and do what we need to do. But having a brand actually is part of leaving a legacy. And that's what, as business owners, we need to think about that. I think about when I read books like Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, and we talked about that here. All of those people who were named in that book, all of them, which I think that book was released like in the 30s, all of those 500 men that were the wealthiest people at the time, they've left a legacy where when you read those names from 1935, a lot of those companies are still here, and those men are gone. That's an awesome thing to do, where you can actually do some things and set up a business in such a way where other people can benefit from your hard work from generations to come. And so that's what I really like about these books, because sometimes when we live our lives and do what we do, we don't think about the big picture. The big picture is not just helping us and helping our families, but it really is about helping others to get what they need. So that's my business coaching book moment right now, and I appreciate you guys' time. Thanks a lot.